ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
ततो जयमुदीरये।
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी।
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी।
Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, titled Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation, and today's verse is verse number 49. आसक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र
आसक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र
जितात्मा विगत स्पृह
जितात्मा विगत स्पृहः
नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धं परमाम्
नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धिं परमां
संन्यासेनाधिगच्छति।
संन्यासेन अधिगच्छति।
आसक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र
आसक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र
जितात्मा विगत स्पृह
जितात्मा विगत स्पृहः
नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धिं परमाम्
नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धिं परमां
संन्यासेनाधिगच्छति.
संन्यासेन अधिगच्छति।
Anyone would like to lead?
आसक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र
आसक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र
प्रभु जी, I lost that. जितात्मा विगत स्पृह
जितात्मा विगत स्पृह
नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धिं परमां
नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धि परमाम्
संन्यासेन अधिगच्छति।
संन्यासेनाधिगच्छति.
आसक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र
आसक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र
जितात्मा विगत स्पृह
जितात्मा विगत स्पृह
सिद्धिं परमां
नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धिं परमां
संन्यासेनाधिगच्छति।
संन्यासेनाधिगच्छति.
असक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र
आसक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र
जितात्मा विगत स्पृहाः
जितात्मा विगत स्पृह
नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धिं परमां
नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धि परमाम्
संन्येसनाधिगच्छति।
संन्यासेनाधिगच्छति. Thank you very much.
आसक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र
आसक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र
जितात्मा विगत स्पृह
जितात्मा विगत स्पृह
नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धिं परमां
नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धि परमाम्
संन्यासेना अधिगच्छति।
संन्यासेनाधिगच्छति. Thank you very much. Word by word meaning. Asakta buddhi,
आसक्त बुद्धि
having unattached intelligence.
having unattached intelligence
Sarvatra, everywhere.
सर्वत्र everywhere
Jitatma, having control of the mind.
having control of the mind
Vigata spruha, without material desires.
without material desires.
Naiskarmya siddhim,
Naikarma siddhim,
the perfection of non-reaction.
perfection of non-reaction.
Paramam, supreme.
Paramam supreme.
Sannyasena,
Sannyasena,
by the renounced order of life.
by the
by the renounced order of life.
Adhigachati,
Adhigachati,
one attends.
one attends.
Translation by Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai.
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 one who is self-controlled
One who is
self-controlled
self-controlled
and unattached,
and
and
unattached,
unattached,
and who disregards all material enjoyments,
and
and
who
and who
disregards
disregard
all
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 material
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 enjoyments
enjoyment,
enjoyments,
can obtain,
can
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 obtain
obtain
by practice of renunciation
by
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 practice
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 of
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 renunciation,
renunciation,
renunciation
the highest perfect stage of
the
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 highest
highest
perfect
highest
perfect
stage
perfect
of
stage
stage
of
of
freedom from reaction.
freedom
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 from
freedom from
from
reaction.
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 Anyone would like to read this page, a purport by Srila Prabhupada?
Real renunciation means that one should always think himself part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and therefore think that he has no right to enjoy the results of his work. Since he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, the results of his work must be enjoyed by the Supreme Lord. This is actually Krishna consciousness. The person acting in Krishna consciousness is really a sannyasi, one in the renounced order of life. By such a mentality, one is satisfied because he is actually acting for the Supreme. Thus, he is not attached to anything material. He becomes accustomed to not taking pleasure in anything beyond the transcendental happiness derived from the service of the Lord. A sannyasi is supposed to be free from the reaction of his past activities, but a person who is in Krishna consciousness automatically attains this perfection without even accepting the so-called order of renunciation. This state of mind is called yoga rudra, or the perfection stage of yoga, as confirmed in the third chapter. Yasto atma ratir eva shata. One who is satisfied in himself has no fear of any activity.
Any kind of reaction from his activity. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So let's chant all together the pranam mantras. Ajnanati mirandasya jnananjana shalakaya
Jnananjalasalakaya
chakshurmritam yena
chakshurmitamenna
tasmai Sri
Shri
Gurave
Gurave
Namah.
Namah.
Sri
Shri
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Manovistam
Manobhishtam
Sthapitam Yena
Sthapitamena
Bhutale
Bhutale
Swayam Rupa
Swayam Rupa
Kadamahyam Dadati
Kadamahyam Dadati
Swapadantikam
Swapadan
Vandeham Sri
Deyam
Guru
Sri
Sri
Guru
Guru
Sutta
Itapadakamalam
Kamlam
Sri Guru
Sri Guru
Vaishnavamsha
Vaishnavanscha
Sri
Sri
Rupam
Rupam
Sagrajatam
Sagrajatam
Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam
Raghunatham Tam
Sajivam
Sajivam
Sadvitam
Sadhutam
Savadutam Parijana
Savadutam
Sahitam
Parijan
Krishna
Saitam
Chaitanya Devam
Chaitanya Devam
Sri Radha
Radha
Krishna
Krishna
Padan
Padan
Sagana Lalita Sri
Sagalalita Sri
Vishaka Vitansha
Vishakhanutancha
He
He
Krishna
Krishna
Karuna
Karuna
Sindhu
Sindhu Dina Bandhu
Dinabandhu
Jagatpate
Jagatpate Gopesha
Gopeshwar
Gopika
Gopika
Kanta
Kanta Radha
Radha
Kanta
Kanta
Namostute
Namastute Tapta
Tapta
Kanchana
Kanchan
Gaurangi
Gaurangi
Radhe
Radhe
Vrindavaneshwari
Vrindavaneshwari
Shravanasute Devi
Ishvanaste Devi
Pranamami Hari
Pranamami
Priya
Hari Priya
Vanchakalpataruvecha Kripa
Panchakalvataruvecha Kripa
Sindhuvaivacha
Sindhuvevacha
Patitanam
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namo
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 Namah
Jai Shri
Jai
Krishna
Shri Krishna
Chaitanya Prabhu
Chaitanya Prabhu
Nityananda Shri
Nityananda
Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi
Saraswati
Gaur
Gaur
Bhakta
Bhakta
Vrinda
Vrinda
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Hare
Rama Hare
Rama Hare
Rama
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 Hare
Hare Hare
Nilachala Nityaya Paramatmane
Bhagavani
Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannataya Te Namo. So thank you so much for joining this wonderful Sangha every Friday. So 18.49, Krishna, after going through the various different activities around the aspect of, knowledge, karma, karta, buddhi, dhriti, sukha, and then speaking about the three varnashram qualities, the four varnashram qualities in three different verses, one after other, 42 being Brahmana, 43 Kshatriya, and 44 being Vaishyas and Sudras. And Krishna talks about the qualities of individual work and then worshipping. And then he talks about one's nature. And this verse, Krishna speaks about uh, the aspect of how to detach ourselves through the control of mind and desires. So here Krishna is giving a very beautiful subject matter because he is getting to the process of surrender as we progress. So here Krishna is saying asakta buddhi, having unattached intelligence. And there we are going to discuss about how we are attached to something, attached to our kids, attached to a wife, attached to our parents, and how anything which happens to them affects us. So, and that process of intelligence where we are too much attached with this personal choices, preferences, eventually leads us to weakness, and that leads to uh, a situation where we are not in a renunciate state. We are completely in control of someone who we are attached to, and that never gets us. So here, Krishna is talking about the qualities of sannyasi, the quality of renunciate. But what is renunciate? What is sannyasi? We have to discuss a little bit, because we think a sannyasi is a person who is in a different robe, he's wearing saffron clothes, he's holding a danda, and so on and so forth. But actually, Krishna is speaking about the qualities of a sannyasi, as in, and Srila Prabhupada is putting that in the purport, saying that a Krishna conscious person who is always conscious of Krishna and who doesn't have attachment, he has the intelligence to not get attached, asakta buddhi, always. Always, whenever there is a situation wherein which will arise, where there is a personal preference of attachment, this person who is in Krishna consciousness will not do that. So he will not go with the flow of his desires, without material desires, vigata spriha, naiskarmya siddhim. And these kind of personalities are in the renounced order of life. Sannyasena adhigachati. So by following Krishna consciousness, we can truly become unattached to, our intelligence will be molded in such a way, will be transformed in such a way that we will lead ourselves to the path of sannyasi. So this is a beautiful subject matter. We're going to discuss a little bit about this, taking some examples. So as you know, we are feeling that whenever we have a meal in front of us, the hand is bringing the food into our mouth. Our mouth, through the saliva, is trying to chew, and then eventually that chewing gives us some element of happiness, and eventually that food goes into the stomach, and that results in the stomach sending signals to the heart with the activated bloodstream into the heart, and heart sends a message to the brain, and the brain is very pleased that he is tasting a beautiful meal. So the question becomes, what is hand feeling? What is the teeth and tongue feeling? Because when the brain and the heart have said, we are pleased and we are not hankering because we are not filled with hunger, it's essentially the brain or the heart being the uh, spreading of the information to every part of the body that I'm no more hunger. There is no situation wherein we should worry about it, because the hunger is overtaken by we taking the meal. Then the hand is satisfied, the tongue is satisfied, the teeth is satisfied, the whole part of the body is satisfied. It is precisely, but so at that time the hand doesn't say that if I would not have taken the morsel of food into my mouth and I should be satisfied first. No, essentially it's the source. When it is satisfied, everything else is satisfied. And just to add another example, whenever we cook something, cook kheer, for example. The kheer is made by us, and we eat it, and we feel very enamored by the fact that we made such beautiful kheer for today. But if you think closely, very closely, let's try to analyze this. The rice, the beautiful basmati rice, thin rice, is made by the farmers in the field and which is nourished by the nature. It's actually a procreation of nature. Sugar has come from various different sources, and if nature is part of it, the sugar is part of the kheer. And the natural gas comes in, we burn it, we go through the process of simmering it, we add milk to it, which has come from the cows of Krishna, and eventually we have the remembrance, which Krishna says, I can give you remembrance, and I can also take away the remembrance. In a different verse, Krishna mentions that. So, why are we thinking that the kheer which we made is all because of us? Actually, the milk has come from the cows, the sugar has come from the fields after processing, the rice has come from the fields. But we have this audacity wherein we think that we have made this kheer. But behind the scene, a Krishna conscious person who thinks that this kheer is made by Krishna, of Krishna, and for Krishna, and it should be offered to Krishna because he is the source of everything. And with that mindset, he's already renunciated. He has already detached. So we talked about two things. We talked about the source being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has created this beautiful universe from where all these fields of have nourished and created these beautiful articles, and these articles have come in. But these articles can come in. But if Krishna doesn't give us intelligence, can you mix it in the right proportion at the timing of the kheer to come out so beautifully? We can't. And Krishna, the articles will be there, but Krishna mentions apohonamcha. That means he can take away the remembrance from us. Think about everything is there. There are people who live in big, big houses, but Krishna, by virtue of the pious karma, have taken away the intelligence. You can't make here. Likewise, Krishna has given us forgetfulness. So, thinking that we are truly part and parcel of Krishna, that mindset that everything we do in this life, even the leaf on the tree is shaking because wind god, Pavan, is under the jurisdiction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is blowing, and the tree and the leaf is moving. The leaf cannot move without the audition and sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the mindset that we are attached, even if this person whose mindset is attached goes to Himalayas, puts in a robe, puts in a danda like the sannyasis, do you think he is a sannyasi? No. So that's what Krishna is saying in number 1 line. Then he says, Jitatma Vigata Spriya. Jitatma means a person who has conquered his mind. The mind being, this kheer I have made is actually not made by me. It's made by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he has the first recipient of the kheer. That's the reason why we don't offer kheer to Krishna. Because of that, we only take things which are offered to Krishna, which is offerable to Krishna. And that's why we recommend that we do not keep any violence in the items we take, because that will all be ingrained. Now the question becomes, do the vegetarian people don't have any violent mindset? That's a different question. But the fact is, it has come from the Supreme, and anything which is offerable to the Supreme is partakeable by us. Then Krishna goes on to say, Vigata Spriya, one who is detached, free from material desires. Everything we do in this contest, whether it is the kheer or satisfying the tummy and the heart and brain is satisfied. So by the practice of Naiskarmya, which is the third line, by trying to recognize that we will do the job, but we are not the recipient of the result of the job. There is somebody else. Somebody else has given us intelligence. That's why we are making a lot of money now in various different companies. If that intelligence is taken away, now don't you think with the same knowledge, the same degree, people of your batchmate or wherever you have your schoolmate and whatnot, they are not as successful as you may be. Or for that matter, there are some who are more successful than us, materially speaking. So here, the traits of a sannyasi is being discussed, wherein Krishna goes on to mention about how to not get attached. Sannyasena digachati. Through this, by wearing pant shirt, but with the right mindset of not getting attached to the result and controlling the mind, we ourselves can be a sannyasi. We don't need to attain certain age and this, that, and all. As you know, the four Kumaras wanted to go after the knowledge. They were just babies, and all their life they lived with little clothes in their body. They're like babies. They stayed like babies. They didn't had the attachment or asakta. So Krishna is talking about detachment here. How to be detached? By jitatma, conquering the mind. By vigata spriya, that means free from material desires. So if you control your mind and you free yourself from material desires, which is very difficult, but at least we know the theory that you can all be sannyasis, you can all control your mind, you can all be detached, and you can free yourself from material desire. You can become sannyasi. Sannyasi. So that's the reason why maintaining robes and danda and becoming a sannyasi is an external appearance, but actually it you can all become sannyasi in your own way. There are certain people you may see, they will always wear white clothes. Always they will wear white clothes. They have no attached to different colors because they have controlled on that attachment to look. Because if you yourself is part and parcel of the Supreme and your heart is clean, it doesn't matter if you go with colorful clothes with external appearance. So here, the Varnashram, the four Varna, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, is creating a platform of transcendence, wherein by doing whatever you are doing, Brahman imparting knowledge, Kshatriya protecting people or subjects, Vaishya, mercantile, business, and Shudra, cleaning others. Uh, in any of these things, you can attain the Supreme. And in any of these Varnas, you can gain sannyas or renunciation. So, because the source of all of this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, because anytime you have a fight, because this person is thinking that belongs to me, and that person is thinking this belongs to him, there is a conflict. But if you think about it, nothing belongs to us. Everything belongs to the Supreme. Because we are not paying taxes for the services we are using in this world, in this nature, we are paying the heavy price. There is war everywhere. There is strikes everywhere because people wants to inflict pain on others, and that's how they gain happiness. We become inhuman in trying to do so. But if everybody thinks that whatever we're doing as subjects of the Supreme, and everybody else is also a subject, so we are peer subjects. And if the peer subject is hurt, the source is not going to be hurt, so we will not impact hurt to my peer subject. Then everybody, it's a very simple process. But Srila Prabhupada, through the message of Bhagavad Gita, have established that what the source is. And what is our real position? Our real position is, I am not a Brahmana. Naham Vipro na chanara. Patir napi Vaishya na Shudra. That means I am neither a Brahman nor a Kshatriya, nor Vaishya nor Shudra, nor a Brahmachari, nor a householder, nor a Vanaprastha or a sannyasi. I identify myself as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Krishna. Gopi Parat Bharatu Padakamalir Dasa Anudasa Anudasa. So our intent is to serve. And anytime we want to become master, then all this problem starts. So 2 or 3 messages, if when you think about it, is we become relieved when we become detached. When we control our mind doesn't go to different places. Anytime our mind goes to different places, it goes in a recursive loop, and always we become sad because it is entangling. But more and more we control our mind and stay within the realms of simplicity, we feel there is happiness. And then not to get attached to anything. How? So controlling the mind and controlling the desires. So that's the reason why Srila Prabhupada says Krishna conscious devotees are sannyasis in the true sense, because whenever they are thinking about something, for them, they think about the Supreme before themselves, and that's the reason why the life leads to a process of peace and containment. And gradually, through various different associations, it's not a overnight thing. When all these things are getting pounded on our ear every day, how not to compare, how not to, seek comparison in our life, how to feel happy with the other's happiness, how to get rid of envy. These are the traits. If we have not overcome these anarthas in our life, we have not conquered life at all. We are still the subject of the illusory energy of the Lord, from which we have to unshackle ourselves and seek and go through a process of detaching ourselves, controlling the mind, not having serious material desires, staying at the lotus feet, thinking that all these things what we're doing to please somebody who is supreme, and we being a subject of this most supreme personality of Godhead by becoming Dasa Anudasa Anudasa is no little thing. It's a huge thing because you're a servant of the supreme personality of Godhead. So with that mindset, we can overcome our containment in the sense that we become sannyasis and we do not have any doubt in our mind that we have to go to Himalayas to become a sannyasi. No, we can become a sannyasi by just practicing Krishna consciousness. So Krishna is prepping ourselves for surrender, which is the end of this chapter's verse. So gradually the discussion will be around this aspects. So if you have any comments, reflections, please share. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Nice class, Prabhuji, as always. Thanks for the time. Um, yeah, Prabhuji, like I was reading one of the purport of the Prabhupada, like in one of the lecture, where Prabhupada mentioned, right? Because when we think that, everything is belong to Krishna, right? And basically, when we came into this world, we have nothing, right? We just came, okay, with not even dress also, right? We don't even wear any dress, okay? We just came to this world. Okay? It means we don't have anything, okay, right? So when we have that mindset, if you have something, then you can renounce, right? Let's say if you don't have anything, then what to renounce first of all? I mean, everything belongs to Krishna only. So we should use for the service of Krishna. And second, Prabhuji, second thing that what I realized is that, like let's say sugar has the property, the swabhava of the sweetness, right? The salt has saltness. Likewise, every living entity, right? They have swabhava of service, right? So they can't, they can't take away that service, right? This service attitude is for every living entity. So that is their nature, okay, right? So when we came into this world, we completely forgot our nature, okay, what our nature is, right? The service attitude we completely forget. We think that we are the doer, but in one of the verse in chapter 3, right? Gunai Kriyamana, like everything does by the material nature, basically the soul desires and super soul sanction the desire and material nature manifests the desire. Okay, right? So in this case, the soul only desires, right? Prabhuji, but he thinks himself is a doer. Okay, but 80% of the work has been done by the material nature and the Lord Himself. Okay, right? So when he thinks that he is a doer, he is kind of attached to the whatever the work he is doing. He is attached to the reaction. And thirdly, like in one of the words, I can relate about the mind. Right, mind is the main culprit, and I mean the Lord tells like most of the verses, give that mind to me. Right, always think of me. Right, and even the Lord Arjuna also asked the same question: how to control the mind in chapter 6. Lord told that, right, you have to do abhyas and vairagya. So these are two ways. We have to control the mind. But yeah, it's not going to happen, because this has been done like millions of years. We have been doing this. It will take time, right? But we have to do practice probably. So that's what I think.
Yeah, very nice, Prabhu. You mentioned a lot of things there. Let's try to unpack that. A couple of things you mentioned. We came to this world without anything. But why did we get to the situation where we are now? And now we are trying to uh, refine ourselves again. If we didn't had anything, so the this is also a indirect impact of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through through His illusory energy, and we get so much enamored by that. I mean, you came, all your throat, your everything were clear, your gallbladder was clear, your heart was clear, but because we get into a bad practice, we get associated with the wrong habits, and we sort of get illusion in the form of trying to do something, overeating, over ambitious. We get a lot of tissues internally, and that leads to blockage when we get to age of 30, 40, 50, whatever. So over a period of time, instead of going in the right direction, we have caught up with wrong aspects of leading our life, and that causes a lot of problems, health problem, for example, and likewise our mental problem. We get so much of enamored by success that we start working 15, 20, 15, 18 hours a day, and because you can't sustain yourself with that kind of thing. Everything we do now actually is all, instead of we becoming controller at the hands of Krishna, we are becoming controlled by the illusory energy to the Lord, or the Maya, or which is not the real thing. we want to go after promotions after promotions. We have a wrong way of leading our life, wrong eating habits, wrong mindfulness. Our mind is totally into how to multiply our savings and things like that. So this is the real cause, which you touched on. Because of this anarthas, nothing was ours. Now we caught up with something wrong, and then we try to multiply, and that is nothing but a cancer in the, and that cancer is taking us. And the only way to detox ourselves is through the process which we just discussed. Get shun the desires, do the mind control, become like a sannyasi. All the detoxins will go away, and more happiness and peace will sink in. And you mentioned a lot of things, because nature, prakriti kriyamanani, you mentioned about that. And it's the nature which is making us dance to the tune, but instead we are sort of mining, we are hurting the nature, and that's the nature. When nature comes back, we can't handle it. So we're getting all kind of weird weather all around, and now we are in a situation where it's so hot in some parts of India and eastern part of India, you can't even imagine. So all I'm saying, Prabhu, the only solution is to be as strong in your Krishna consciousness, and it will unravel everything, like how some of the points you mentioned, you have realized, and slowly we will detox ourselves, and it's not an overnight thing, and we'll get better. Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. So I have one more point. If let others speak, maybe I will speak at the end.
Okay, that's fine. Anyone else have any comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Guru Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, one of the fundamental point which you and the purport mentioned here is, what is actually the outcome of the sannyas, Prabhuji? The outcome of the sannyas is basically the degree of the freedom, Prabhuji. What we are achieving with this sannyas is the state of freedom, where what is freedom? I want to define here, Prabhuji. Freedom means, Prabhuji, that we don't we don't fear anything, we don't desire anything, right? That is the freedom we are getting. We don't fear, oh, if I don't do this and this will happen, or we don't desire this. We don't own something, basically, right? We don't try to, what Prabhupada always says, proprietor. We don't try to be proprietor. So you get all these degrees of freedom from the sannyasa renunciation. And how is that freedom? How is that renounce order is, sorry, that freedom is attained by controlling the mind. Prabhupada always says, either you serve Maya or you serve Krishna. You have to serve one of them, either Maya or Krishna. So if we serve Krishna, automatically the mind will be controlled. Automatically, Prabhuji. We don't have to make special endeavors for it, because that is a characteristic of the devotional service. And once the mind is controlled, we become sannyasi, we get the degrees of freedom. So devotional service will definitely lead us to, and thinking about Krishna, devotional service not for a material purpose, but for serving Krishna, will give us all the degrees of freedom, which is nothing but sannyasa. Sannyasa means what, Prabhuji? As the purport explains, sannyasa means to kind of renunciate, right? So we are renunciating. So to what Niranjan Prabhu was telling, we came without anything, but we think everything, something belongs to us, whatever that is our false ego, Prabhuji. So this false ego is what making us these things. But if we shun that false ego and surrender, do the service, automatically we get the degree of freedom, which is sannyasa. Living in a New York, working in a New York City, that was one of the opening sentence which Srinavan Das Prabhu has told, that you can be a yogi sitting in the midst of the Manhattan in New York also. You don't have to go to the jungles and, as you told Prabhuji, saffron robes. But still, if you are not serving and we don't have the attained the degrees of freedom, then it is not. That's the point I want emphasize the degrees of freedom. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you very much, bro. Thank you. Essentially, before Srila Prabhupada came in, there were attempts by different foreigners to go to Rishikesh and various different holy places and trying to find. But this Bhagavad Gita as it is, right, as described by Srila Prabhupada, wherein he created that aura of spiritualism, not just in the Eastern world, in India, Rishikesh, Haridwar, or wherever, but it can be felt, realized in New York City, as you said, New Jersey, wherever you are. And that internalization of consciousness or recognition that there is somebody who is supreme and he is controlling us, we can do sadhana in this place by doing service day in, day out, and deriving pleasure without getting too much into the position. And that is to say that that doesn't mean that people who are in temples are not uh, aspiring to go up materially. They are also, but that's not what we are all after. We are after genuine, honest Krishna consciousness where it is felt every day, and that is led by our aspiration not to get enamored by big, big buildings, big, big cars, and staying with the realms of serving the Supreme and devotees. Thank you, Prabhu.
So, not desiring those things, that big buildings, big cars, that is the actual degree of freedom, Prabhuji.
Mhm,
Those being desireless for material things.
mhm,
You can be desiring, but you can desire for spiritual things. But desiring for material things, not desiring for material things is the actual freedom.
mhm.
And even you get it when you renounce it, basically. That also is that was the opening verse of this, right? What is the difference between sacrifice and renunciation?
Yeah. So when you're
Bhagavad.
desiring big,
Right,
big cars and big, big buildings, that means you are basically surrendering your freedom under the clutches of Maya. But it's
right.
the other way, as in if you can not care about. See, when Lord Krishna comes on Janmashtami, devotees, instead of asking Lord Krishna, they will say, Hare Krishna. That means, how can I help you? So that mindset, wherein when the Supreme Personality comes and you have the mood to serve, that is such that you, even Krishna cannot uh, control you. Krishna becomes controlled by devotees. That's why they say this bhakti is such that the Krishna is controlled by the devotees because they are free from desires, free from the mind is within the control, and they are not seeking. Even if they stay in New York City with big, big buildings, they are not seeking. And that is the height. When you are around and there, at that time, you can shun that. You have everything, but you can shun whatever you have. You can let go. That is the ultimate freedom, right?
Right, Prabhuji. That's what the ultimate freedom. So this gives us the maximum freedom, Prabhuji, which we can enjoy. We are not bound by any laws, rules of the nature's laws and rules. That's the actual freedom, Prabhuji. Like our Gaur Kishore Das Babaji used to wear the cloth to cover his body. He used to wear bodies used to be laid out on the dead bodies, Prabhuji. So that was his degree of freedom, Prabhuji. He didn't care. And we think, oh, that is not good, that is having some issues with the like the germs, virus, all of that, right? He
Hmm.
he his freedom was at a different level, Prabhuji. His freedom, he didn't care about those things. because material nature won't trouble him with those germs or anything, because he's above those, all of those. That's the degree of freedom which we were talking, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Mhm. Any other comments? Thank you. Niranjan Babu, you wanted to say something?
Yes, Prabhuji. So Bhakti Ratnakar Prabhu rightly say it is the false ego, Prabhuji, which we think that I am the doer. So Prabhuji, I was reading the Srimad Bhagavatam where the conversation between the Vidura and Maitreya Muni in the chapter 3. The Vidura even asked the same thing, right, about the living entity, how it created, and Brahma was saying that he actually covered the conditioned soul with five kind of ignorance, okay, called Tamishra, Andha Tamishra, Tamas, Moho, Mahamoho, right? So when the living entity is, sent into this material nature, so it's already been covered with all these five kind of ignorance, right? So that's why that we feel like due to these five kind of ignorance, right? We have that false ego that everything is mine, okay. So why like this they done Prabhuji? Like I'm not able to understand that point. Why Brahma when he created the living entity, why they covered he covered this five kind of ignorance?
Yeah. So, Prabhu, we are coming back to this repeated cycle of birth and death because we have not escaped this. We did not do enough bias credits to, like, you have this escape velocity, right? In the escape velocity, the projectile or the satellite will orbit, it will not come back. So, we did not do enough to escape the clutches of Maya. So, that's why you have to come back, right? So, we have come back because of some of the anarthas in our prarabdha karma. If we actually, I was referring to certain people's disappearance time. In the Panjika, there is this disappearance time. And based on the disappearance time, they can predict that whether this person is is going to go back for 100 years and then come back to this material world because he's very pious in his way. Actually, it is mentioned, it's in the Panjikas in your local. I can refer to some people who are very nice person, but they had so much of desire by the end of their life and the time of their departure. The horoscope reader will tell you that this person within a week or two will come back to this material world. And some other people, they will say this person will not. So they are coming back because Uddham Gachati Sattvata is there, right? Because they have neutralized. So that's why you go up, but you don't go up fully. So the point is, when you come down to get into this material world, you are covered with anarthas because you have come down. Your pious credits are over. Your free interest rate of the first 3 years are complete. Now you're back to giving the mortgage with the because your incentives have run out. So the point I wanted to make, Prabhu, is this Brahmaji who has created this material world under the jurisdiction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you heard of Prajapati, Prajapati was the first progenitor, and that is in Canto 4 of Srimad Bhagavatam. He was progeniting everything because all the initial progenitors were not successful. Four Kumaras, they didn't want to progeny. From here, Rudra came, and there was all kind of gobblings. So, because we are coming into this material world again and again to answer your question, uh, there is that impurities which is put in a conscious way, which we have to unshackle ourselves from, because we have got this intelligent life of a human being. If we cannot overcome the six you just mentioned, then how can we go out of the cycle of birth and death and become escape velocity to leave the planet. So the reason why we are here is because of something we have done, and we should try to reform, transform, and go back. But instead, the six things, if we do not. So your question is, why would there be a red carpet for everyone? Had we have got a red carpet, we have gone back to Golak Vrindavan. So there is a reason why we are here. It's because of the impurities you spoke about. It's because of the anarthas we have done in the past. And we are better off than probably animals. We can chant, we can serve, and we can go back. Does that help?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
I mean, my question is that if that covering was not there, right, then we could have, easily do our sadhana but due to that, then we have to do, a lot of effort, right? Like,
Right. So some people are born with that conditioning, and they get the benefit at a childhood. Like, say, for example, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was born to Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur was a Vaishnava. So his right from his childhood, he got conducive atmosphere where he doesn't have to fight the system. But 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 everybody's situation is different because of the prarabdha karma. Some people, they have a real good, because that's where it says, if you've done enough, you'll probably get born in a more conscious and pious family in the next life, so that your passage, you get conducive atmosphere to go. So there is mixture of everything. You can find all kind of example for. Okay.
yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Also, Prabhuji, one point to Niranjan Prabhu says, we come with that subtle covering, Prabhuji. That subtle covering is which is coming from one birth to another birth, which we are carrying. Either we are accumulating or we are diminishing our subtle karma. So we come with that, Prabhuji. That is what I want to tell. We are coming with that subtle karma, subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, and ego, which forms that subtle body.
Any other comments? So let's end today's discussion. Let's all reconvene next Friday at 8 p.m. and discuss more about this deep subject matter. It's very interesting, and we all are learning. That includes all of us. So please join at the right time so that we feel enthused to discuss more and more. And we should all end before 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's 9. Is that okay, bro?
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay. So let's offer obeisances at the lotus feet of all Vaishnavas by saying Vancha Kalpataruvasya Kripa Sindhubhaiva
Siddhanam
Padanam
Prabhupada.
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavesyo
Namo
Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Ki
jai
jai.
Jai.
Gaur Prabhande Hari
Hare
Hari
Hare
Bol.
Hare
Bol.
Bol.